A very spooky greeting to you, friends, and happy October! October is my very favorite month, although I might be the slightest bit biased because my birthday is October 31st. But nonetheless, this of course is the month that I get to watch all of my favorite Halloween movies, and there's one in particular that holds a very special place in my heart, although some might argue that it's actually a Christmas movie. Can you guess what it is? Yes, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas is among my top 5 movies to watch in October. And if you're like me, you particularly enjoy a certain group of merry mischief makers known as Boogie's Boys. You remember them, right? These 3.
What are you doing here?
Jack sent for us.
Specifically,
By name. Lock.
Shock.
Barrel.
Jack! It's Boogie's Boys!
Ah, Halloween's finest trick-or-treaters.
A few years ago, in need of Halloween costumes, my boyfriend, his brother, and I decided to dress up as the trio. I made the masks from scratch and they were a hit. Then people started asking how I made the masks and asking for recommendations on how to make their own. So I made improvements on the design, created patterns, and put the patterns up in my Etsy shop, and today I'm going to show you, step by step, how you can make these masks yourself. So put on your favorite Halloween or Christmas garb, grab your craft supplies, and let's get crafty. Okay, I won't do that again. Here is a list of tools and materials you will need. If you want to take the easy way out, you can grab my patterns on Etsy, link in the description. The download includes Lock, Shock, and Barrel, and Shock's witch hat. But if you'd like to take the free way out, I can make a separate video to show you how to make your own patterns from scratch, using some scrap paper, a pencil, and a ruler. I would have included that in this video, but you'd be watching a much longer video right now. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see that. I recorded the footage, and if y'all are interested, I'll edit it. So just let me know. For today, we'll use my pre-made patterns. Print the patterns and grab some scissors and some tape. And just start cutting along the solid lines. Cut to the side of the dotted lines so you can still see the dots on the pattern pieces. We're going to cut out and discard the pieces with the hatch marks. The main part of Lock's mask is in 4 pieces. Line the pieces up at the gray tape lines and tape them together. And there's Lock. We've got this piece that goes behind the eyes and just adds some depth. This piece goes behind the mouth. And these 3 pieces are his nose. Now we'll do the same with Shock's mask. And there's Shock. Again, this piece goes behind the eyes to add some depth. The mouth kind of looks like it should go like this, but it actually goes like this. You'll use this side of the nose piece twice, and these go like that. Onto barrel. And there's barrel. The piece that goes behind the eyes. This piece goes behind the nose. And of course, his smile. And last but not least, Shock's hat. And there it is. It's going to make a lot more sense later. You'll just have to take my word on that. Okay, let's go chat. Spider webs. Okay, so I have the patterns drawn out and cut out, and now it's time to trace the patterns onto whatever material you're going to make your masks out of. So the first time I made these masks several years ago, I made them out of craft foam because craft foam was exceedingly inexpensive and very readily available. And it was right before Halloween. It was a last minute costume idea. And I just went to the craft store and got some craft foam. Once I started making the masks, I realized how flimsy craft foam is, and the foam couldn't support its own weight, and it was just kind of floppy. So I ended up putting support on the back of the masks. I used cardboard and I think like a wire coat hanger. It wasn't great, but it worked. And then the second time I made these masks a couple of years ago was after Nick had started the foamery, and I had EVA foam laying around, so I used EVA foam. Good quality EVA foam is not the most cost-effective material to use for this project. I assume a lot of people making this project are not cosplaying as Lock, Shock, and Barrel and planning on going to cons for years as these characters. Maybe you are, but I know people want to dress up as Lock, Shock, and Barrel for Halloween. Actually, I had somebody leave a review on my patterns on Etsy, and they said that they made them out of paper. Oh, no, it was cardstock. They made the masks out of cardstock and then painted that, and they put them on little paper straws so they could hold the mask up and then put the mask down. So there are lots of options. Be creative. I assume if you are making these masks along with me, you are at least some percentage of crafty. I'm going to show you the foam that I'm going to use. This is EVA foam from the foamery. I want to unroll this and get the pattern laid out on the foam and just see how much room I'm working with. This is what I'm going to make this batch of masks out of. So I'm going to adjust the camera so that you can see what I'm working with here, and then we will get the patterns sketched out and go from there. But first, a quick trip to the basement to pick out a little light reading. This should tide me over for a bit. Just kidding. I'm just going to roll out the foam and weight it down for a day or two. If you can do this near a sunny window, even better.
Ooh,
Oh, that's what... I kept finding glitter on me and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I thought these were rhinestones, but it's not. It's glitter. Okay, so the foam has now been laying flat for a couple of days. Now I'm going to take off the books and start laying out my pattern pieces on the foam. I'm going to play around with the arrangement of the pattern pieces on top of the foam and just try to have as little foam waste as possible. So I'll grab my pattern pieces. First I'll take off the books and then I'll grab my pattern pieces. So that is all 3 patterns one time. I'm kind of curious if I can do that again. Okay, so now I've got the masks laid out 2 times. The only thing I didn't do on the second set of masks was the headband piece, and I think that's because I'm going to show you a couple of different options for attaching the masks to your face. So the first set I'm going to do the headband pieces, I think, and then the second set I'll do some other options. So now I'm kind of curious if we can get the hat on here. Guys, I am so excited. That is so cool. I think I could even do better. I could even be even more conservative with my layout and have even more foam left over, but I just got 2 sets of the masks, so that's 6 masks and the witch hat out of this one roll of foam. That's awesome. I just want to keep looking at it. So now I'm going to grab a marker and start tracing. I like to put straight lines along the edges of my material. Don't forget to transfer your registration marks on the hat pattern. There it is! Okay, so I did slide a couple pieces down as I was tracing. I don't think I got that much more out of it, but I do have a little section here that I will probably keep for doing little details or something. But other than that, I think I did pretty good. I think I got the most out of this piece of foam that I could. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my cutting mat and start cutting. Let's cut. Okay, we have all of the pattern pieces cut out. We have 3 headband pieces, which I'm going to use on 1 set of masks, 2 lock masks, 2 shock masks, 2 barrel masks, and we have 1 Shock's witch hat. So before I start gluing anything together, I'm going to take some sandpaper to some of the edges because it's hard to get your X-Acto knife to go around tight corners. So any tight curves, you probably have some jagged edges. So I'm just going to take some sandpaper, take down those jagged edges, and then we're also going to sand down the edges of some of the pattern pieces to get a 45-degree angle so that the pattern pieces fit together like they're supposed to. And I think that's it. All right, let's start putting these together now. So, any place where you see the dotted lines, we're going to sand the underside of those pieces to 45 degrees. You can just grab some sandpaper. This is a trick that I picked up from either Adam Savage or Evil Ted, but I think it was Evil Ted. So you just take your sandpaper, wrap it around a paint stirrer. You get the paint stirrers free from the hardware store. You can also do this with scrap wood so that you have a block and you can use the whole block for sanding. I like the precision that I get out of these. Okay, so same thing on this one, underside of those two edges. We're also going to get our 45-degree angles here. Looks good. Now set lock aside. We'll do the same thing with shock. You're going to undercut 45 degrees on this one and on this one. I switched over to the Dremel because it's faster and the edges are smoother. So I'm going to slide this right in here. That's going to help your nose round out like that. Looks good. Set shock aside. Barrel is easy because there's no sanding. So yeah, barrel is super easy. The hat looks complicated, but just sand where you see dotted lines, and be sure to line up the registration marks and you'll do great. Okay, now I'm going to lay down a bunch of paper and start priming. I pretty much always prime EVA foam with Plastidip. I'm going to use white for barrel to make my life easier. Do thin coats and build it up. If you spray too much in one spot, it'll run and drip, and we don't want that. I'm just using some matte acrylic paint. This is nothing fancy.
So the next thing to do is to take these headband pieces that we made and attach them to the masks. What I've done in the past is cut it to their specific size and then I glued it onto the mask, which means that mask will always fit that person's head so long as they don't wear a wig or, you know, their head doesn't change sizes. But what I think I'm going to do this time is actually put some Velcro on so that it is adjustable, because that would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna do that.
Let's add Shock's hair.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish on each side.
I used to attach the pipe cleaners onto the underside of her hat. But this way she'll still have hair if you take your hat off. This is one of my favorite projects I've ever made. I've now made these masks 3 times and I keep improving the design each time. And you know, watching the movie, I think Lock, Shock, and Barrel are 3 kids who made their own Halloween costumes. So the masks shouldn't look perfect. They should look homemade and hand-painted. So don't stress if you don't have a Dremel or sandpaper or fancy paint. I think it adds to the authenticity of it. I hope you enjoyed watching me make the Lock, Shock, and Barrel masks. And if you're making them too, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about making the masks yourself, you can ask them here in the comments section, and I will do my best to answer your questions and help you on your crafting endeavor. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you think it's worth sharing, please share it. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm always working on several other builds, and those videos will be coming your way very soon. That's it for today. Until next time. Alright, now I feel like I'm done.